Liquidity ratios are all about how easily a business could meet its financial obligations if it needed to. If you have a business that needs a loan, the bank are going to want to know whether you can pay your debts over the next year. They'll also want to know how good you are at turning your product into cash. The current ratio is the current assets over the current liabilities. This will give a good indication of how you're doing. Current assets are all the things in a company that could reasonably be turned into cash within a year, like inventory or your stock. Accounts receivable, the money you're owed for stuff you've already sold. And anything else that can pretty easily be turned into cash, including, of course, any cash you already have in the bank. Current liabilities are any amounts you owe in the next 12 months. For most companies, that will be things like money you owe for stock or raw materials you've bought, and short-term loans. Maybe you borrowed money to buy equipment. So, put one over the other and work it out. More than 2 is a good score, although it does vary a bit from industry to industry. The quick ratio is like the current ratio, but it's more conservative, so it's a popular measure, especially in uncertain times. If you're going to buy a company, you want to know how liquid it really is in the short term rather than in a matter of months or years, just in case. And if you're going to the bank for a loan, they may well be very interested in how easily you could pay it back, along with all the rest of your financial obligations. That's why it's often known as the acid test ratio. The quick or acid test ratio doesn't count inventory, because inventory or stock is often a substantial asset, but it can take a long time to realise its value. Some companies end up with obsolete stock, which is virtually worthless. Some suffer from a large amount of shrinkage, which is just a polite financial way of saying stuff gets nicked. And any way you look at it, it takes a lot longer to liberate the cash from all your stock than it does to chase up money that's owed to you for stuff you've already sold, accounts receivable. So, the quick ratio is current assets minus inventory over current liabilities. But which ratio do you use? Well, if you're looking at a furniture company because you're thinking of giving them a loan, most people would go for the quick ratio. Will they be able to pay you back if the worst comes to the worst? Remember, that's why it's called the acid test. If it's not more than 1, then think twice. But sometimes, for example if it's a fast food company, the inventory is turned over almost daily. Most of it really does get turned into cash every day, so it's not such a big deal. There you go. That's liquidity ratios all wrapped up.